Sound check, sound check.
Check, check. There we go. When I was in Sunday school, we were learning about the time Moses split the sea in two, Jesus made the water wine. And we're feeling sad that miracles don't happen still. And now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's Sound good out there? Woo-hoo. Hello, how's it going? I'm sparkling. They gotta have something nice and sparkly. Oh yeah. For a second I thought we were gonna say like a disco ball. I'm like, okay, sounding is actually much nicer than a disco ball. Not quite fully wrapped like a disco ball. Exactly. I'm more like a soundboard. Yeah, that's right. You're in front of the screen all day. Has it been since Easter? No, I don't think so. That's right. Yeah, that was a couple years actually really good. It's been this week specifically has just been absolutely nuts. We started the semester at my workplace in college, and my boss, like a few days before the semester started, is like, "Hey, we have a staffing issue for one of your courses. Can you take over?" And I'm like, "Sure." And it's like, "Well, also it's an 8 a.m. class." I'm like, "Okay." Well, also there's a newer version of the textbook that you don't have a copy of yet. And I'm like, okay. So it's just been a scramble. It is fun. That's very fair. I actually put together a syllabus. I'm kind of a monster at it. Grading, yeah, I could do without. There we go. I got stuck on mucus. I was just like, okay, so I'm not that bad. Okay, you're like, well, not a lot of classes are working for it. Just that's my excuse to sleep in 2 hours. Oh, no worries, I can chat. I'm just setting up my pages, not a big deal. But yeah, I really enjoyed Rick's and putting together its syllabus and all that. But now actually sleeping in the syllabus a little bit. Yeah, so I would say that this one I really enjoyed, trying to find different, because in the case of physics, it's different seasons.
Won't start super behind you. It's a bad idea. It's like, you never walk up behind a pianist wearing boots.
I'm not going to run across you like a what?
I was just talking. I'm sorry, Steve. I'm sorry to interrupt. No, I'm just laughing. She's in charge of environmental science, that's what she calls them, for some of these conditions, right? So in spring, you're going to do sugar bugs, and it's really, okay. And then I think some of these are pretty useful. And some of these need to come and pound on this very story, right? I know this is really technical stuff, so I know this is blowing your mind. Yeah. I know you're not trained for this, but I think
Within the shining of a star, we catch a glimpse of who we are. In every infant born we see the hope of our nativity. The miracle of each new birth can shake and save the stony earth. Triumphantly the newborn's cry strikes echoes from the waiting sky. Come into our house of hope and love, of peace and justice, of wholeness and healing. Come in where we welcome the certain and the seeking, the lifers and the newcomers, the beloved and the brokenhearted. All of you can find a home here at Throop, where we go love the world from the heart of Pasadena and from the heart of our homes. A warm welcome to all that are joining us on the live stream today. And thank you, Jamal, for running our live stream this morning. Well, we always try to find the positive, right, in life. And I gotta admit, I came in today holding a little bit of my own anxiety about the heat. I was trying my best to not spread it to other people, and I told one of you I give myself a 0 on that one because I pretty much failed on it. And then Lynn Costello said, you know what, it is not 95 degrees today, and I decided I was going to come in, and this is just good enough. And thank you, Lynn Costello, for listening to the summer worship theme, which has been what, everybody? Good enough, yes. And so today, our final Sunday of Good Enough, we explore lifelong faith formation, what it means to have a good enough faith. And next Sunday will be a Labor Day weekend full of labor movement music. So we're looking forward to that. If you're new to Throop today, we ask you to sign the online guest book, or if you're here in the room, you can fill out one of those information cards. It's in the back of the pew in front of you. And a little bit later in the service, you can drop it in the offering plate. We are so glad you're with us this morning, and I invite you to do what you need in order to be comfortable in the room today. Each one of us is a light in the world, and the flame from our chalice symbolizes and reflects that light.
Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. As a symbol of that connection, we light our chalice with love, compassion, and justice.
In the gardens of our hearts and minds, may we plant seeds of hope, curiosity, and kindness. May we nourish these seeds in one another by encouraging spiritual growth and acceptance of one another. Together, we cultivate a faith that involves and deepens throughout our lives.
We light a second candle to honor the people and ancestors whose lands we now occupy. The land under and around Throop was once and still is the home of the Gabrielino Tonga band of Mission Indian people. May this knowledge and awareness lead us into seeking justice and equality for all.
We light a third candle, symbolizing our watershed, the Arroyo Seco. May their waters continue to nourish life in our communities. We take a moment of silence, holding all of these in our hearts.
And as we watch our flame, which I think has decided it's too hot for the chalice today. You know it? And we're just going to let that chalice do what it needs to do to be comfortable in the room today. We're going to let it be itself. It is what? Our chalice is what today? It is good enough. That's right. And so we will sing it into being, well, Megan will, with our opening hymn, number 318, We Would Be One. And I invite you to just follow along, reading silently in your hymnal. And look at you, Derek. Way to go.
We would be one as now we join in singing our hymn of love. We pledge ourselves anew to that high cause of greater understanding of who we are and what in us is true. We would be one in living for each other to show to all a new community.
And gently turn to a neighbor and welcome them into worship today.
responsive reading this morning comes out of this hymnal. It's number 657. If you want to take this book out of the pew and open it, they've been missing you all. I come in here during the week and they're like, when are we going to sing again? When are we going to sing again? Steve's book is broken. Who's going to share? And then, congregation, how about those of you who are on this side of the room will say the words in the regular type, and then this side of the room, you can share the words collectively with the italicized words. And this is written by Sophia Lyon-Fawes, and she was a Unitarian religious educator from the mid-20th century, and she is known to have really revolutionized I'm getting some waves from a religious educator in the back of the room, Lynn Weber. But yeah, she was known to have really done groundbreaking work when it came to faith formation and children's development. And she really helped the Unitarians move away from this like Sunday school programs where you were just doing a lot of memorization into trying to create programs that were very experiential, where children were really encouraged to develop their own beliefs. I'm getting some yay from parents in the front here, Rachel and Dave, hands up. And Fa's goal in her work was, we wish children to come to know God directly through original approaches of their own to the universe. You know, I think today we would expand that word God a little bit more so that all of our children could find their place in that big, interesting, mysterious word. But at the heart of our Throop Kids Dig In Children's program is still this really strong commitment to experiential learning, to letting kids be exactly who they are in this moment. That's why today, when parents are in the sanctuary with their children, I just say, like, please be comfortable, and if they need to run up on the chancel, you know what? Sometimes George Patton needs to run up on the chancel too, and we let him do it, so yours can too. That's gonna be okay. And our children's program room upstairs is named the Sophia Room, and we named it in part for Sophia Lyon-Fawes, and then also we named it because Sophia, of course, also means wisdom. And so let's do it. Do you remember which words you're going to read with me? And do you remember which words you're going to read with me after that long introduction? And then Steve, your book's not broken anymore, okay. However you need to, Amy, however you need to do it to be comfortable today. But I have to do it right in the microphone. All right, here we go, friends. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Other beliefs are expansive into wider and deeper sympathies. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies. Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences beautify the pattern. Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. And we in Unitarian Universalism have 6 sources of wisdom. I find it curious that Unitarian Universalism doesn't seem to be listed as one of those. So I'm just going to say today that our 7th source of wisdom is Unitarian Universalism. And today's lesson is how the apple got its star. And this comes from the 6th wisdom source we draw from, which is earth-centered spiritualities. And I'd like to invite up the Throop players. Good enough.
Okay. How the apple got its star. There was once a tiny seed sleeping in its blanket of earth all winter long, until one early spring morning when Father Sun began to shine. The little seed awoke, and she began to stretch and yawn and stretch until its legs pushed deeper and deeper into the earth, and its arms finally stretched up above the earth. Then with one last stretch, the little seed poked its head up and looked around at the wide, wide world. After all those long winter months in its brown earth bed, the little sprout thought it had never seen anything so beautiful as grass and flowers, and it gazed in wide-eyed wonder at the world. All day, the little sprout listened to the music of the birds and the breezes and was full of wonder. She watched the clouds sail by in the blue sky and saw the sky turn golden as Father Sun sank into his bed. And then, as everything grew dark again, the little sprout saw a wonderful sight. Up in the sky, diamond stars were twinkling. She wished so much to touch one that she stretched and stretched to reach the sky, but she couldn't touch the sparkling stars. Finally, she began to cry. Suddenly, thank you for the sound effects, Fiona. Suddenly, there appeared a fairy wearing a crown of those sparkling stars.
Why do you weep?
Because I want such a star for my very own.
Ah, someday your wish will be granted. But first, you have much work to do. You must go strong and tall and full of love.
And then the fairy vanished. The little sprout worked hard to grow tall and strong, and after some time she became a young sapling. King Storm came with his winds and rains and beat her down almost to the earth. But each time, she struggled to stand tall again, and she grew stronger and stronger. After some time, she was no longer afraid of him, for she knew he helped her to grow. After many visits from King Storm, one morning the little tree awoke to find her branches covered with pink blossoms. Oh, how lovely, she cried, and she took great care of them day after day, until one day tiny seed babies appeared. Now the little tree was becoming a mother. She was so busy caring for her tiny apple children that she forgot all about her wish to be to the fairy. Summer came and her children grew golden and green, and little fairies came and kissed each little apple until they blushed bright red. The little apple tree was so proud of her children. She felt she could not be happier. Then suddenly the fairy with the crown of stars appeared beside her.
I have come to grant your wish, to bring you a star from heaven for your very own.
I am quite happy with my apple children.
Well then, I shall give my basket of stars to your apple children, but I will hide them deep inside, where only the earth's children can find them.
And so she did. And that's where you will find a star waiting for you, inside each apple, guarding the little seed babies for you to plant in the earth again.
Thank you, Apple Children and Fairy and King Storm and Narrator and beautiful growing apple tree.
Faith is a forest in which doubts play and hide. Insight can hear the still small voice deep inside. Web of life, may this thread I weave strengthen commitment to all I believe. Vision be my guide as I seek my way. Lead me into this tender day. Speak through me in all I do and say. Seas of both meek and strong are scattered in the air. Dignity shines undimmed by bigotry's care. Web of life, may this thread I weave help me bear witness to all I believe. Justice be my guide as I seek my way. Lead me into this tender day. Speak through me in all I do and say.
This church is ours. We support it as the church community supports each one of us on our spiritual journey. For those of you who are able to offer a financial contribution today, we thank you so much. And you can do that in one of three ways. You can give online or text to give. Those options are in your order of worship. Jamal maybe is going to put it in the chat for the live stream. And if you're here in the room, you can offer a donation in the offering plates that are about to come down the aisle, and you can put it in that little envelope in the pew back in front of you. Thank you so much for all the ways you support our life together. The offering will now be received.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love.
And Troop's love has been able to spread like sunshine even through the pandemic. I go around to places in town and I get surprised because people will say, "Oh, you're from Troop. We've been watching your worship services online." Thank you, live stream volunteers, for being able to make that happen. And then today we have someone in the room. I'm not going to say the name because I don't have that permission, but someone who found us. They live in Hawaii and so are in town now and are experiencing our worship for the first time in person. It's really great to have them here with us after worshiping with us online. And then also, I just want to lift up that we are offering ASL interpretation. And if you have someone in your circle that is an ASL interpreter that might be interested in doing that here at Troop, I would really love for you to connect me with them. And so for the many gifts in this community, I invite you to share the response to our offering. Those words are in the order of worship. For the ministries of the church and our community, we bless our offering with love and hope, and we follow that by saying our promise to our planet. As members of the family of living beings on earth, we are guided by the Unitarian Universalist principle of respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part, with hearts filled with love for it, eyes nurtured by its beauty, and minds ruminating on ways to protect its sacred and scarce resources. We promise to nurture the well-being of all life and of the planet itself. And I invite you to take a gentle breath in together and to exhale, and to take a breath in and exhale. And we enter into a moment of continued shared gratitude. I invite you to close your eyes if that works for you, or keep them open if that works for you. As we reflect on the blessings of this gathered community, Throop gives each of us the chance to stretch, to reach, to grow. And when one of us faces a storm in our life, there are others nearby ready to prop us up until we're ready to reach up for the sky again. Receive blessings of support from one another. And as we near the end of the official summer season, reflect on one or two blessings this summer has brought into your life. Maybe it brought an abundance of fruit or tomatoes. Maybe it brought you a little bit of extra time to relax. Perhaps the blessing of seeing family again after many, many months apart. Perhaps it brought you a just renewed sense of joy and possibility for your life and in the world. And whatever those are for you, you're just invited to take a few breaths as you hold that blessing or two close in your heart. And in a spirit of connection, I invite you to energetically take one of those blessings and just imagine that you're gently lobbing it across the room to someone, across the airwaves to the live stream people. And just know that wherever you're sitting in here or online, that you're actually now receiving this unexpected blessing from someone in this room. And you know what? You don't need to know what it is. You only need to know that it's full of love and a sense of friendship. And for all that is our lives, for the knowledge that wherever we are is holy and sacred ground, may it be so.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word. and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine, and I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world out there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I'm walking with a reverend dare, 'cause everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I'll tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I'm walking with a reverend dare, 'cause everything is holy now.
The past 2 weeks, my social media feed has been full of pictures of Throop children going back to school. I have seen the brightest smiles, these little signs in front of them that declare what grade they're going into. Some of our children are unschooled, so their back to school photos look a little different, but they are precious all the same. And these children, they're so much taller now, Isla. How did that happen? They seem also pretty happy about resuming their studies after the strange over 2 years of pandemic-inspired schooling. And last week, I was driving down Marengo Avenue, and I passed Blair Middle and High School. One of our Throop children is a new student at Blair Middle School, and I saw a sign that really captivated me, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. It was about 4:30, and there was a long line of cars, I'm sure full of weary, stressed out, 1,000 things on their mind, parents waiting to pick up their student. And there are these signs, multiple ones of them, and they say, kindly move forward. Kindly move forward. Well, you know what? All right, Blair Middle School and High School, I'm just going to think about that. And I just thought when I went to Trader Joe's and it was really full, I just thought, you know what, everyone in here, let's just kindly move forward. On my way to church today, on Sunday morning, on my quiet little street, can you believe someone tried to pass me on the right because I wasn't going fast enough? And I just thought, you know what, person in the car behind me, kindly move forward, but after I get off the road. I was so taken by this gentle wording on the sign. Like, who made this? This reminder to rushed caregivers to have just a little bit of extra patience and gentleness in the morning or afternoon. Kindly move forward and offer the people around you a little bit of extra space and grace. Maybe the person in front of you is totally zoned out and they don't realize it's their turn to go. And you know what? You just kindly move forward. I wondered how many people or committees at that school did it take to land on this wording? Were they kindly moving forward in the decision process? I don't believe it. But I believe they got to a good ending with it. All summer in worship, we've reminded each other that wherever we are in life, however you are able to show up today, it's good enough. That we don't need to constantly feel like we're climbing a ladder of success. That we don't have to compare ourselves to other people. We don't have to imagine there's some kind of right thing or right path, and if only we could figure out what that was. Why isn't someone sharing the secret with us that we would all of a sudden be granted these extravagant rewards? Instead, like the little sprout from our story today, we can stretch and reach and blossom exactly where we are. And we can lean into practicing good enough lives, and we can practice a good enough faith. But when it comes to our own personal faith formation, what does doing that in a good enough way mean? Does that mean oh, Reverend Tara says our faith life can be good enough, so I can actually ignore it? She's not going to notice if I don't come to church on Sunday. You know what? I do. And you just wait. Some of you who aren't coming in, you're going to get a letter from me. Uh-oh, now you're not going to come in because you want a letter from me. I'll send you one anyway. I hope you don't think this good enough is an invitation to just ignore your spiritual formation, because that's not what I mean. You're also not completely finished wherever you are in your journey. No matter your age, whether you are our youngest Fiona down here in the front pew or our eldest Anne, who is probably joining us by live stream today, at Throop we say you are whole and holy exactly as you are. And we also say we expect you to practice curiosity about yourself and the world. That even though you're good enough exactly how you are, you're also not finished yet. And this is a tension that we hold as Unitarian Universalists. You are good enough as you are today, and we do not believe in an absolute perfectionism. We believe that change and transformation is possible. And so we ask you in your faith lives to kindly move forward. Sophia Lyon-Faz's philosophy mirrors this in the words we said earlier today. She wrote, "Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling ever growing with the upward thrust of life. Our understanding of ourselves, the world around us, the God of our hearts is always evolving and expanding. Starting on September 11th, our children's program, Kids Dig In, will resume after being on pause for well over 2 years because of the pandemic. Our families will start together in the sanctuary for the first 10 or 15 minutes of service, and then we will sing the children and program leaders out to their program. We'll sing a song that some of you remember from way back in March of 2020. That song goes a little something like this, and if you remember it, I'm begging you to hum it with me. For you shall go out in joy, for you shall go out in joy, and come back in peace, and come back in peace. Blessed be. And that was our signal that while we would be a little bit separate for a while in age-appropriate faith formation programs, that they would leave in peace, we would stay in here in peace, and we would eventually all come back together as one community. The families met a few weeks ago, and they named really quickly all the things that are important to them in a faith formation program. They named things like, we want Kids Dig In to help our children dig into our Unitarian Universalist faith. We want them to dig into our earth and to issues that matter, and we want them to dig into their own spiritual lives. They said they want a program that nurtures relationships among the children, but they also want their kids to know you and you to know them. They want activities that engage the entire congregation. They want to encourage spiritual growth and a responsible search for truth and meaning, and they want it to be fun and maybe even a little bit of drama sometimes. Drama in the good way, like up here. Not drama that means a conflict team has to come in, mind you. And while we spoke about wanting all that for our children, it's what I want for all of us. A Throop community life that holds you across the lifespan, that scoops you up wherever you are, whether you are a college student or a young adult or newly married or a young parent, or in the midst of your professional career, or at the point where you're figuring out what will it mean to be retired? How will I share my gifts now that I'm not working? Who am I now without this role of professional, whatever that was for you? Mark Morrison Reed, a Unitarian Universalist minister, he grew up as a Unitarian Universalist at the First Unitarian Church of Chicago. He spent time there as a boy. He came back as a young adult, and as an adult, he felt his call to ministry within the four walls of that old church building there in Hyde Park, right on the edge of the University of Chicago campus. And he reflects on what it felt like to be held by that community at all those different ages and stages. He says, it's a place where I was nurtured, and because I was nurtured, I grew. Having grown, I could give, and having given, I could grow more. It's a place where struggling, I could fail, where failing, I was still loved, where loved, I could begin again. It is a place where in pain I could go, where having gone I was cared for, where cared for I could heal and move on. That is why I'm a minister, to help sustain religious communities, places like the one I grew up in, places made holy by what people experience in them, the seasons of their lives and the healing of their souls. Morrison Reed describes a church experience that was highly relational. It was not only the pastor offering up all that care and nurture. He grew up in a church that saw him for all of who he was and invited him to kindly move forward when appropriate. We know that what we pay attention to grows and thrives. The tiny sprout from today's story reached for the sky and grew into a big, beautiful tree full of her apple children. And as we get ready to start our own Throop program year, I am asking you to pay attention to our children. There are 24 children, ages toddler through high school, that are connected to Throop. 24, can you believe it? It's amazing. I'm asking you to learn their names. I am asking you to find out what interests them. I'm asking you to be extra gentle to their parents because they're holding so much every day right now. You will hear a request from me asking you at some point to show up and volunteer in the children's program. And I know you're going to hear me say that, or you're going to read it in the tidings, and you're going to be like, Reverend Tara doesn't mean me, though. And you know what? I do mean you. Each one of you with your body in a pew, or you on the live stream when and if you come back in, I mean you. And if learning side by side with children is just not going to spark joy in your heart, then a way you can support our families is by just considering holding a child or family in your prayers, in your heart. Maybe writing a note to the parents and family, just letting them know that you care and appreciate about them. In the days to come, may we continue to be that kind of religious and spiritual community that invites you into a good enough faith, a faith of beliefs that evolves, one that helps you establish a rhythm to your life, a faith that helps you gently touch the earth and reach up for the sky, a faith in which each of us is held and we find joy in all life's possibilities. May it be so. Our closing hymn is Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. If you want to find that in your hymnal, I didn't write the number down. I was being good enough this morning. It should be in your order of worship, though. If you find it, yell it out. I want to look along, too. 301, amen for the people. If you feel like rising right now, you can, and follow along. You can stay seated. If you need to roll around on the carpet, I'm not going to judge you for that. Number 301.
Touch the earth, reach the sky, walk on shores while spirits fly, over the ocean, over the land. Our faith is a quest to understand. Touch the earth, reach the sky, children ask the reasons why. In our lives, the
place a hand on your heart and reach out a hand to someone else in the room or someone on the live stream. Our chalice is extinguished. We carry its light with us. I would like to thank live stream operator Jamal Carver. Megan Hawks, your beautiful music inspires. The Jones family for lighting the chalice. The Throop players for inspiring us. And Melanie and Jean, greeter and usher. I love you all. Go out and love the world. Amen and blessed be.
Though I may speak with bravest fire and have the gift all to inspire, but have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess and striving so my love profess, but have not give my love within, my profit soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come, thou heart's control. The spirits long to be made whole. Let inward love guide every deed. By this we worship and are free. You know what? I'm like, I just love that song so much.